Sure.
And welcome one and all to another Planet Poetry 28. This event where everybody kind of uniquely shares their 5-minute reads of poetry anthology online, shares their reads on the screen using the share file, the share screen, so we can read along, adds another dimension. And this is becoming like a virtual magazine. You can see any of the past events on the YouTube channel. And my goal is one day this will become like Poetry Magazine it did, which started 100 years ago, and that people will look back and say, this was the time when the Zoom poets happened. And if you want to know, in this particular, in November of 2021, here were the poets that read. And oh, look who read here. And it'd be probably most of you. So
all of us famous Zoom poets, right?
all us famous Zoom poets. So like that. And basically, for those who've not been here before, I introduce you. Then you can do the share, or I can just share for you if you sent me a poem or whatever, and then do your reading. And then afterwards, you stop the share. We'll chat. Everybody can go off mute. Most of the time, it's good for all of us to self-mute if there's news. I don't like to, mute everybody automatically. If it's a lot of noise in your room, maybe just to do so, or I'll do so like that, and then we'll just move on like that. So I'll start. I'll break the ice as I do. Mark, of course, Mark Fishbein. I'm also known as Poet with Guitar. I have several books of poetry out. My most recent is this one, the Reflections in the Time of Trumpius Maximus by Atmosphere Press. It's a 4-year project, over 4 years of just reacting and trying to create a historical document of the poetry of the times. I'm also involved with the Poetry Global Network that you'll hear a lot of today. So a lot of our participants are here. And it's a hub for news and reading and events such as this. And I'm chancellor of the Poetry Academy, which is a weekly YouTube production you can see in which the poets reacts to different poems that are thrown at us. And I host a couple of weekly workshops. Some of the members are here, and I'm so happy about that. And you'll be seeing stuff in the chat maybe about myself if you want to get in touch about a workshop. And please do subscribe to the Poetry Global Network. And we'll put information on the chat in that too. So I'm going to start. I had asked if everyone could, and it's not at all required, but I had a poem about thanks and giving thanks. So I would start with that. If you have one, it'd be nice. If not, no problem. Just read what you had intended to read. Gratitude at sunset. Oh, hands, my hands, in the 4 o'clock sun, blue canals bulge from thinning skin. I want to say thank you for all you've done, for your discipline with life's instruments. Oh, my feet, I see you there below, now stubby lumps with sausage toes. I want to thank you for all you've done, for all the forests and continents strolled. Oh, face, my face, bright in the waning light, how it resembles my father growing old, accepting what the mirror no longer hides. Thank you. Thank you, eyes, ears, and memory scrolled. Oh, love, love of my life, who shares my bed, who shares my waking to another day. See the rich shadows of our courtly dance. Thank you between us need ever be said. And the children, generations who see me age, you'll remember me from today, this moment, what I am as I praise each of you, seeing myself in each your eyes. Oh, soul, my soul, known and unknown, thank you, keeper of the coin, for my poem. And I'll also read a second poem. I'll play a tiny bit of music to introduce it. part of a collection called Confessions, Apologies, and Bitching of an Aging Baby Boomer. And this is the title poem, The Baby Boomers 2021. We are stardust, we are golden, Joni Mitchell. Oh, Joni, we were stardust, we were golden, but our garden was filled with indulgences, flowers in our hair, butterflies in our brains, gurus, and sunshine acid. You could say we had some fun, lifted the meager possibilities of compassion, where Krishna lives in a hobbit squire and science fiction smells of incense. How the rock and rollers ripen like prunes to make a nectar for our aging digestion. But their lyrics consume me still as my generation enters its epilogue. We are stunned, conflicted, unsure. What use, if any, did we dance, leaving the world in code red, crying into the coming dystopia? The decades passed like a single year as we glowed in peace and happiness, preaching to a choir of stockbrokers. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. We didn't change the world changed us. So neatly we become the bourgeoisie, fed the children hippie myths and soul music, some Leonard Cohen, as we went about planning for our silver days. Generations are remembered by affirmations. Look at us now, white hair and baggy jeans. We were stupid then and we're stupid now to fathom we can mold the future, change the dress codes, pacify the cops, stop the butchers and racist seizures. Our songs harmonize with naivete that the forces of empire would bow to our needs. But there are moments for us, the vintage brew, who ate with our hands and slept under stars. We survived AIDS, survived crack and COVID and the big crash after all the addictions. Still here, haunted by swan songs of lament that we sang so loud we thought our voices would release us from the chains of greed and the shitty etiquette of post-mortality. It was a glorious attitude of youth, with music and costumes of resurrections, that we were there as part of it all, the fall and the collapse of love.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Lovely.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Magnificent. I really enjoyed the second one.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a
Beautiful.
pleasure to read. By the way, I'm going to change the order just a slight bit for Jeremy is going to follow, then Prosser, and then I'm going to have Lacan read because he's in Manila and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning right now. So he's going to read and try to stay as long as he can, but he asked if you could read a little earlier, and I'm sure that's not a problem. So if I could, let me just shut that off, of course. So I'm going now to introduce Jeremy Cantor. Jeremy is his debut poetry collection, Wisteria from Seed, was forwarded by former Boston Globe arts critic Michael Manning, published in 2015 by Kelsey Books. His work has been performed by the Boston Conservatory, set to music by Robert Gross. He's currently working his second volume of poetry. He began writing after retiring from a career of laboratory chemistry. He has made tested engine oil additives, detergents, and pharmaceuticals, driven forklift work in a full body acid-proof hazmat suit, tried to keep his fingers working in a freezer at 40 degrees below zero, and he prefers writing. Well, Jeremy, I get that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm going to read 3 poems from the book that Mark mentioned, which is this one, Wisteria from Seed. I see it backwards on my screen. I don't know if it's forwards or backwards on yours. See if I can get the share screen to work. Tamarind. I woke beneath the tree the Arabs call the date of India. Beneath the tree the Indians call the Imli. I should not sleep here, where the dry pods of the tamarind click against each other in the wind. This is the tree whose fallen fruit so bruised the walking feet of Radha that she cursed it for delaying her as she went to be united with her love, Lord Krishna. Cursed it so its fruits would never ripen. To this day, the fruit falls to the ground only half ripe, still soft. On the mountaintops that face the sea in Oman, the tamarind grows wild. The Portuguese and Spaniards took it everywhere they went. The ghosts of India went everywhere the tamarind was taken, and it gathered local ghosts wherever ghosts were found. The locals tell you not to walk beneath the tamarind. The ghosts appear at night. But still, I chose that place to sleep. I listened as ghosts wailed and whispered stories. Their stories and mine, I listened to them all. Now that night has passed, come sit by me beneath the tamarind, and I will do my best to tell you a few ghosts' tales. Their stories and mine. I like to tell them all.
Mm.
This is the title poem from my book, Wisteria from Seed. Almost no one grows wisteria from seed, I told my sons. This one has a healthy set of leaves, so it ought to flower in about 10 years. I'm 60 now. When I was in school, a botany professor showed our class a bamboo plant. This flowers every 40 years, he said. I won't be here to finish the experiments I might start now. If any of you are planning graduate studies, please see me after class. I've got some ideas I'd like to try. I never thought myself a man of faith, yet I grow wisteria from seed, while others study bamboo, plant vineyards, grow olives, raise children.
Oh,
Sculpture. I dreamed that I was made of sand, and you tried to shape me with your hands. Upon your first attempt, I slid apart and fell into the angle of repose. Your second try was better, and I kept a roughly human form for several minutes before I slipped again into a heap. With each additional attempt, your hands learned something new and worked with love and patience. But not until your touch had reached perfection did all the unconnected parts turn one, and all the disconnected grains turn flesh, and all the waste and windblown become me. Thank you.
Wonderful
thank
poem.
you. All the ways that
Thank you.
thank you.
Beautiful.
That was such nice sound and all. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing that. And after we all read, if you'd like to, leave your information in the chat, and then you can all copy it, and we can all get in touch with each other as need be. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah. So our next poet is Prosser Stirling. Prosser's alibis include corporate international relations, theater, performance art, music, graphic arts, and discussing African art with the visitors at the Smithsonian. A native of Galveston, Texas, he lived in New Orleans, Paris, and Florence before making it to Washington, D.C. He's been a longtime participant of the Poets on the Fringe, one of the workshops that I'm lucky enough to host, and is a great word painter that makes me very jealous very often. Prosser, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the invitation, Mark. It's good to be with you all again. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm starting out with Le Bal. Did I do share screen right? Let me see if, oh yeah, okay. I'm in control now. This is called Le Bal. It's the ball in French. Cubic blue prisms the ceiling, twin hips twinkle the dance floor. I grind my soles alone, poor margins at cuff and shoe, wish for higher legs and lighter toes. Nervous feet pimped for a rodeo, slide around me in twos. I am martini miles ahead. Cosmic eggs round the room, megawatts boss the charge. Bouncing like bloomers of the Folie Bergère, we are dancing dogs with painted tails. Jersey smile and zebra shoes, wide arms the bar, pig knuckle dumb, cracks a look with a side hip shift to run the rooks away. Life is dotted in diamonds, disco lasers scream through secondhand smoke. Adult drinks load slingshot sting. We are B-24s rumbling over flak, children with the sillies, roaming bones with ghostly stares under strobes that blind the night. Floating rings twist and twirl a candied court. Mustang eyes and cherry lips shores her shorts to the high water line and wades in. Backbone follows what lumbar learns. We pace light as running hounds. Tata click, tata click. Ankles tangle, and after a backstep delay, we torque, jaws tilt. Some kisses stick like lipids, and others dissolve to air. White blossoms pom-pom the walls, bands of others pound and push. Jersey zebra casts a loaded glow. I take Mustang in a brave squeeze. We bind tight as I imagine a shaking sable in my arms, cradled from a backhoe crush. Through late night jukes, the spin was spun. Under bleach white closing light, shadows get shy. The room now a bus stop for wobbly oranges and unpaired warblers who bob and blink and back their necks away from every half-tone hustle. Mustang is by now my junk partner, her breasts like rising planets, travel bunnies to the next bar. Jawbone loud and sawdust rough, in a crow's gait we crawl, to click, to click, to click. This next one's called Badlands. For those of you who don't live here, Badlands is a geographical area in South Dakota. Badlands. The Cheyenne Trail cuts a sensible scramble through the Badlands massif. We come under cloudfall, within view of a pale plateau, the color of smoke. There are no bridges to broaden their beams, nor missions to bang their bells as we pass. Scarred soil and dry grass whistle without kindness or contempt, indifferent to our fates that could dangle from the cuff of a cloud or curl inside the scoop of a moon. Under folds that fetter open plains, shadows were slant when we swore this loaded oath to care for each other like broken bones, flank our own like woolly twins before the fist of a daggering wind. And when a dozen suns roil and flare, rough ride these ridges till night goes brittle, then breaks, and morning glory twills the fence line, vanishing behind us, Badlands to exile.
Marvelous.
I'm going to finish with something that's still untitled. It's Heartache Day. A spare of birds lines the wire. Watercolor clouds feather with rain. Crying rivers brine the wind. Tomorrow chases never when faith has folded into.
Wonderful.
It was phenomenal. Thank you. The last one was very fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you all.
This reminds me of I drove through the Badlands years ago, right after a blizzard, and I was the only one there. It was all covered with snow. It was very, very eerie.
And was it bad?
It was great, but it was eerie, you know, silent, eerie.
Well, thank you for
Thanks.
thank you for all those colors, Prosser. Your wonderful words,
Thank you.
wordplay and sound. I mean, just great stuff. Thank you.
It's a privilege for me. Thank
Well,
you.
and bring that again to the workshop. We'll figure out a title for it.
Oh, right.
Well, I'm going to ask Lacan to read next, and as I said, and he'll maybe hang a little bit as he can. It's like, you know, with the 13 hours in the other direction for him. So he stayed up for this. Thank you. And for me to introduce Lacan is quite difficult because there's just too much to say. I met him, it seems like a year or a million years ago. He was the first poet of influence that I met on Zoom. And I heard this guy read, and I said, oh, I got to get in touch with this guy. So I found his email address, and we kind of kept in touch. And since then, Lacan has been the spearhead, besides being award-winning performance poet and with the huge portfolio. He's the spearhead of the Poetry Global Network, and his vision is what's helping to drive this hub of connecting poets throughout the world, which has helped connect us, so many of us here. And with that, he put the rest of his bio in the chat, and I'll take it away, Lacan.
Actually, I just sent it to you, but
Oh,
it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Magandang umaga.
Let me send it to everyone. Okay, go ahead.
It's okay.
Okay, I thought I saw everyone. Sorry, babe.
It's okay. Magandang umaga. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lacan, and I'm from the Poetry Global Network. And I have two pieces for this morning. So I'll do the share screen. This one, I know, Mark, that you really don't like. I mean, we don't bring new pieces into these types of stages, but I just want to share it. I just felt it. I just wrote it. I wrote it an hour and a half ago. Rim of this twilight. I'm tired too. You're not the only one who can burn. Out goes the puff, inwards, like a sun's secret. It dies when it's born. Light gasps per moment in each spark. An inhale of truth releases in an ash, crackling its fulgur in an ether, blackest when it lists the lits. It slits the smoking eventide. As smoke pokes the jokes and mornings. Hope lies too, like a dawn on a finger. Shadows never sets until ash rises and begets, and flickered black holes leave behind a sight. Death is white. Butts, pale the butts, and stars exhausts its flare, a beautiful grim, scattered on my bed, a buried ardor, spent like an addicted luminosity. I've consumed nothingness, like a star, skyless. Thank you.
Wow.
So my second piece, this one, I'm actually, am I seen, or it's just my piece?
Not you're just your pieces on screen and your screen,
Okay.
not your face.
All right. It's all good. So this one, I've written, this is a story of a woman I met in a center for abused women in Manila. This is her story. It's called Bang, Bang, Bang. I love my nation. That's why I forged the sky with a thigh-high secret. Bullets hung on my neck like amulets, sickled sick of being used for nothing. My body is now for the country, bruised for a meek contribution to true equality. I share it with my comrades as a tax, contracts on closing the gaps of sacrifice to continue our fight. War is never easy, so I give myself willingly to ease depravity. Everything is a commune for a communist. My skin is portioned like a manifesto, read every night. They camp on my cramped bed. I'm a provision, rationed like a supply to hungry volunteers of the battlefield. I'm surrounded like a bonfire, lit to a tit. I march my moans as they take their turns, lined up like an order, enlisted, for ready, deploying a deploring, drumming sound. I'm a good citizen of the state. Unspread hips, open arms, hands up, surrendered a consent. This right is right. Lips indoctrinates like a siren. It rings. I'm serving our cause on cross-net tongues, wetting obligation. I'm an oblation of a plowed-on ovulation. I know my part, a duty to part my mass-produced orgasms, distributed like a produce for the party. Their privates rushed in like commandos with AK-47. Seven is indeed heaven, a dream to aid my wary brigade. I wear their riots like a camouflage, a red-starred uniform of allegiance. The men form like a covert operation, a bomb battalion bombarding leaflets on me. Obedience is an omni-propaganda, an agenda found in quick draws, paddle cheeks, straddled hips, the tips of a revolution explodes in rounds after rounds of ecstasy, raised fists, a constitution of chants and guns, gatling by a firing squad, raising the flag of a hoe on each blow. I know I gave my dues to a Politburo as I burrow on each show of compatriots. The come around me is an oath of my loyalty to our egalitarian agitprop. I'm a public property of our government, prepared to tease my bosom. I'm a soldier, strapping my freedom on my salute fingers. To arms! Ideology clenched like a door. They'll be back tomorrow, and I'll welcome them like progress. I progress in my role to offer my person to our people's uprising. I've been waging for 5 years. Mabuhay.
Wow.
Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Lacan, you have such a subtle command of the English language. What a joy to hear your verse.
Hmm.
I especially like that first one. Were you also intending dis as its other meaning of Hades? Because it's a particular spot. Okay, it's something you might want to look into. It's also called, I'll do the little bit quick Greek mythology. It's also called Ogygia, and it's below the horizon at the cosmic South Pole. And it's the place where the river Styx starts, supposedly.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's dis.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Lacan. But basically, there are very few people to whom I have ultimate respect for the poem they just wrote, or yourself even as a improvisational poet, which is really hard to do, to take a something out of a bowl like they did in the improvisatore, in the Renaissance, and just, okay, let's just do a poem on this and make it a contest. And I've seen you do that a couple of times, and I've always been in awe of it. So you, whether you wrote it 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, it's okay with me.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much,
Oh, well,
everyone.
thank you very much, and thanks for joining us, and hope you can stick around a little while.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you to all the poets who also performed earlier and the poets who will perform after me. Thank you so much.
yeah. So I'm going to move on to Lesley Constable. Lesley is a UK citizen who lives in the UK now, who in Mexico and Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a long life rock and roll hippie, like myself, adventurer, road tripper, activist, modern dancer, poet, painter. She worked as a journalist, art critic, university art gallery curator, and a studio arts and art history instructor. She's a veteran open mic performer from Mexico. I'm just gonna put it a little shorter. Currently, she reads 6 to 8 times a week internationally open mic Zoom events. She's also a widely exhibited painter in the US and Mexico and sells her prints at artisan craft markets in Mexico. Her poems have been published in the UK and in the United States at journals, anthologies since 1999, with a 2015 collection available on Amazon. Well, thank you, Lesley, for joining us.
Wonderful to be here. All right, so the last one I'm going to read is a celebratory poem, but first I will start with this one. Let me see. Yes, I've got it. This one's called On the Greeting of, I hope I can scroll down and do this correctly. On the Breeding of 3 Horses in Yoaville. Hearing the stillness through the glass, whispering to me, I imagine the soft breath. In seeing outside the 3 horses tethered, I am drawn in on the inhale. Through the window, at its distance from me, the window only seems solid. I hear. I'm not holding my breath. I am not holding my breath. I hear the transparence, not the horse that knowingly exhales the release of his knowledge in that moment in time, his sometimes heavy sorrows in the moment, the 1 foot sore, held up as to not touch heavily the ground, held up slightly on point so as to hover slightly, to not hold the weight, the pressure of it on the ground. They are 3, the horses, 1 dappled and spirited, the other 2 more quiet and still, the second, the middle one with heavily feathered feet, the third long lashed in the color of caramel. All 3 lashed to carts which seat children and take them for rides around the town. They wait, the horses. The third, the caramel one, has blinders attached to its bridle. I understand. I too am an animal which needs blinders. I see its quick and careful attention to the all, the signs visible on its face as movement plays across it, the almost imperceptible signs of a quick attention, the most subtle of movement across its face. The muzzle quivers, the signs and response which play on his face, the ears tune in, moving, the attention so quick that it needs this calming. A cushion, a barrier, a shield, anything to block out, to slow down the processing of stimuli, the rapid fire movement which each movement as sounds that amplifies as it reverberates off of buildings. He is breathing quietly as horses do, soft and quiet, the warming breath, the hum of existence in him and coming from within to without. To me, the sound rises, levitating so as it hovers in front of me before it subsides, level with my eyes, my ears, my mouth from which the steady sounds of quiet praise, the still joy in and the love for this horse, this beauty, the sounds emit from me unchecked, the call and response, sure and steady as a hum, sure and steady as the lullaby, sure and steady as a prayer. There is no difference. He is talking to me. I understand. We are the same. I too pay such attention, too much attention, as does he. I need the blinders so that I might see better, blinders that I might learn and know, and patience and practice, the practice in being, the practice of the patience of being that in his grace of being, the horse has attained. I understand in looking. I understand in listening to his breath come and go, the breath as it first emits in the release, visible to the eye, the presence of the breath, visible to the soul, the release of being there and present for me to see. And I learn and am grateful that I learn. This horse before me, my teacher in breath. So that's that one. Okay. Let's see if I can master this. Sorry. What do I do to stop the share? Stop share. Okay, sorry. All right, here we go again. All right, the second one's called The Night and the Day. The night and the day, these fold upon themselves into the one another, in one another, the simplicity, the elegance of form, the sun, the moon following each other, nestled together as lovers, the meeting points of dawn and sunset, the embrace fleeting, the melding of light, form exquisite in hasty retreat, the tryst, the longing lingers until it fades to begin again. The moment they couple, the moment they co-join the yin and with the yang, separate yet whole together, is the moment that a hush settles over the world and we pause. The evening of two lights, the balance of the opposites, each in their realm, and we who watch understand and learn that there are no goodbyes, the departure, the fear of loss, the yearnings not of our own. We learn while watching day upon day that these lovers, the day and the night, will meet again as us, with us. There are no goodbyes, only tomorrow and the next, which recedes and rises again and again. And we, like the sun and moon, are eternal. And so my last one is, it's called,
Is it shortish?
It's shortish. It's
Okay.
called A Wash. All right. A wash, lost in the too much, lost in the darkness underground. The snakings of that was as being quiet in itself, not loud, not seeking, not wanting attention. You, the spelunker with your headlamp, seeking in the cavern, the darkness to find that which glitters in the dark inside the caves of thought. Even in the dark, your silent incantations of self cajole the spelunker, the also you inside the headlamp, gleaming, to look this way, to look that way, the gleam of the rays, the headlamp, not finding you, you harbor yourself, nourishing you deep underground in the darkness, fostering yourself, perhaps implanted, allowing the essence of you to drip as stalactite anchored in rocks above you and clings as your essence to drip the underground and river of yourself. Yours the river Styx, the passageways under rock, connecting. The boat is there. You board a light to take this night journey, the passage, the glow of release, inside radiating out, casting shadows on the walls, the sheer faces of time compressed in rock, and on the river you recover yourself. You recover yourself each night on the night river, each night, all nights when you dream of the freedom that is yours, your freedom that at your birth the old ones, some winged, some horned, some not, gave you. The freedom is yours, given at your birth, hidden but visible, deep underground. It is there, it is yours. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with this. You shout your freedom aloud in the interior to echo through the caverns of thought, your thought, our lives here upon the night river joined in flow, and you are your own, as you are us, you are our own, all of us on the night river, and we, you, me, us are free. Shout Shout, shout as echo ever repeating in the dark, for you are free. That's all for me.
Oh, you know, in the second, especially in the second poem or piece, if I had not seen what you had written, I would think you were reading a poem. Because you breathed it like a poem and it had like line sense. So it's interesting that we can see each other's different crafts as we write. I mean, because you're writing this poetic kind of prose thing, which is really very interesting, and certainly is. I mean, it's filled with tremendous metaphor and wordplay as well. But you know, on the page as we see it, it's written like a prose thing. So it's a very unique style that you're working in by all means. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's very lovely.
Thanks.
And leave some information in the chat for us to get in touch. Okay. And thanks for that beautiful read.
Thank you.
So our next reader is Juanita Rea. Juanita, are you there? I saw you are there. You are. Hi. Juanita, I saw read once. She kind of blew me away, and I immediately invited her to read here. She is a South African artist activist living in Belfast. She works in a range of creative arts to address gender-based violence and other injustices alongside facilitating well-being community arts programs, especially for vulnerable people and children. This year, she was joint runner-up as the St. Anza Slam in Scotland publications in the Northern Ireland Mental Health Arts Festival, Steel Jackdraw, and the Writers' Queue in Nottinghamshire magazines. She performs live poetry at the Duke Special Gramophone Club in Belfast, and she's passionate about enabling at-risk people to access mental health support through creative, contemplative, and community-based practices. Juanita, hi. Still not, you're not coming through. If you might be on mute. I don't see it though. Your sound is not coming to us. Maybe take off the plugs and try that approach sometimes, you know. Hello?
Now?
Yes.
That's strange. Okay, well, I'm at my sister's with my little nieces, so hence the earphones. So, well, let's just see what happens. The door may open and they may come in. But anyway, I have a couple of pieces, short pieces, and I went with the theme, I guess. So, yeah. Okay, can you see that? Yes? All right. So poems and photos of gratitude. Oh, sorry, I'm having an issue with this box. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do this again.
Sure.
There. Why so many nature poems? Yes, there are daffodils that do an armor and roads not taken to consider. Of course, there is water to endeavor and caged birds who we long to see soar as sky glistens and clouds huddle. I ask myself why, and why so often as the sun shines and as the earth turns. Perhaps it shall be so. Trees, just tree. I am yet to meet a tree that loudly proclaims its miraculous ability to produce oxygen. No fanfare, no hogwash, no marketing or sales, no artfully designed invitations to help you breathe deeper. Nope, trees, just tree. Have you ever met a tree that suggested that you breathe and connect with your inner self? Find inner calm, take a deep breath, Want to reconnect with your inner child? Just climb up, let alone breathe, damn it, breathe, so you don't die. Nope, trees, just tree. Roots in ground, branches reaching up, or out, or down, or around, or whichever direction possible. Leaves gently rustling. Trees, just tree. The sounds, the smells, the shapes, the colors, the height, the width, all of it combined that gives us the stuff we breathe, the stuff we need. Yet still, no fanfare, no hogwash, nope, trees, just tree. We can pause, breathe, and heal with a tree, or rush past it as we run to catch the bus while responding on the family WhatsApp group and while starting a new business venture. Trees, just tree. In the presence of trees, we can be present or absent, or even presently absent or pleasantly absent. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause because I can't see my screen here. 1 second. Continue. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to read this last bit again. In the presence of trees, we can be present or absent, or even be presently absent, pleasantly absent, or absently present, regardless of what we do, don't do, notice, or are utterly oblivious of. Trees, just tree. Thank goodness for that. Upside up. No, I think it's that. I'll just leave it like this. Upside up. These puddles, they command me, halting my feet, grabbing my gaze, borrowing my breath until I feel the inhale in my feet. These puddles peering into me as I peer into them, seeking, hoping, rippling, singing, whispering, reflecting, dancing. These puddles invite my eyes to drink, to savor beauty, as upside down world and inside out me fall into place. Gratitude. The simple things like grass and leaves make me happy. The simple things like sky and sea make me dance. The simple things like singing birds help me wake up to life and love and beauty. In this world, the simple things like babies' smiles make me wonder if I am good and good enough for love. In simple things like friends' hellos, I remember to hold my past and future fears to my heart and let my feet return me back to the present and let my heart be open wide to love. So I stand here now, feeling feet on grass, saying thank you for this chance to live and to love and be in this moment. So and now, gazing up at sky, saying thank you for this chance to live and to love and give. The simple things. Thank you. Sorry about
Beautiful.
Oh, it's okay.
Lovely.
That's
Wonderful
so
reading.
unique.
Wonderful.
You know, if we saw that poem, even with the poem on the page, with the with the photograph, but to hear you read along with it in your very unique way, because every one of us would have read that differently and enjoyed it differently, because it had such a simplistic feel about it. You had a charm about it, which is just, but you became the poem in a much different way than we would ever have imagined it. It was really delightful. Thank you for that. Sure and all. Yeah. So, yeah, really. So our next poem, so far today, as usual, this group just represents a tremendous diversity of high-level poetry and literary works. It's really amazing. So next, and I know that the rest of us here, so it's just going to keep continuing. So next is David Sirois. David Leo Sirois, pardon me, a Canadian-American poet who has published 111 times in 13 countries, including works of translation. His work has been translated in 9 languages. A Parisian for 9 years, he now hosts from his native New Brunswick, Canada, Global Open Mic Spoken Word Paris, which I've had the pleasure of going to very often and being spotlighted on. Thank you, David. And is also a singer-songwriter, radio DJ, film producer, theater actor, currently submitting 5 finished manuscripts for publication and writing and 3 more. And will also be hosting a workshop in a couple of weeks on Wilka, pardon me, through the Poetry Globe Network. And information of that is available through me, or you all know my email, and we'll be putting there on the chat and elsewhere. And I'm looking forward to that, David. Please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So my first poem is about really gratitude for Spoken Word Paris. And I arrive at that after some tragic stuff. And then I wrote it just 2 days ago after listening to Allen Ginsberg recite the whole of Howl. So you may notice that in it, and then I'll read something famous. So I'm going to share my screen. And thanks again, Mark, for reading the bio. Okay, so here we are. Cinnamon winter, ginger spring, sugar summer, chocolate autumn. In the nautical night, I was captain and captive of my own wind-blown ship, the apocalypse. I hung onto the ellipses. I hung onto the ellipses of empty early hours, steering the boat to my twin bed till it crashed into the absolute madness of another morning, sick with dread of alarm clock, red electric tick-tock terror of having to be somewhere at some serious, accurate minute for alcohol poverty money lost on Boston's bank clock face, lid of all official offices. Panic attacks in bathrooms hidden from the team for anxious against my will work contracts that meant cork stuck in my green glass gorge to stopper all opinions, visions, solitude, silence, freedom, and time, with only the faux liberty of the lunch hour to cheer me with its bland, unpaid taste of vacation. While the sadist grimaces of the plastic bastards who cut my check, a quarter of it chopped off for my fat, dumb country's illusory liberty, plus hospitality. How they savored a nice muffled laugh when I left the room with my beautiful theatrical face that stuck out like a second moon, lost and looking for the sky. On the corporate, hypocrite horizon, because my face was naked enough to reveal real feeling, to the point of doctor's office distress, the stress of refusing to report for duty in a casual cardboard shirt to get my face painted beige. Anxious, undiagnosed hours passed. I called in sick to drink at home. Fast forward to France, and ecstatic open secret nights, I sang poetry on the stages of spoken word seances. Stellar, cellar fevers of poetics begin at 9 o'clock in the sweaty summer company of my true family. Artists, writers, orphans, lovers, AWOL in the basements of my penniless Paris midnight poetry party. Eternal student, attracted to everybody on the stage of the spoken world, by which I mean the paper face of earth. Brothers, sisters, nature's children of in the beginning was the word. Do what makes you feel God in your closed closet chest, a wrenching in the heart like falling in love. Sweet silences between the lines of every honest song of songs. 7 cinnamon winters, ginger springs, sugar summers, chocolate autumns, all washed down with the cheapest wine, bubbly and bitter at the same time. Sons and daughters of days with flavor. Let's give this life thing a whirl again, damn it, because the beat up bass drum of our perseverant heart, the hearth of our humanness, keeps its beat freely as a forsaken clock. I must shut up. It's time to sing in verse for a few warm moments, wrapped in the rapt attention of fellow human beings in love with meaning, music made words, soundtrack to the quest for quiet contentment, the fluent breath of natural song intoxication and whispers of inner liberation. Thank you. 4 years sober as of yesterday. Eclipse, this was published in Hindi and Spanish, as well as English. I want to want one senseless thing. So soak my eyes in turpentine, fill these pores with paraffin, numb my tongue, negate all scent, and turn my ears into backward clocks. Still, our moon can shed its skin, swim in the blood of its undoing, and make this night a parasite that feeds on street shadows, tired eyelids, and constellations of bedside lamps. Not addicted to being noticed, the moon is gone. Now it unwraps the dustless surface of its glass, wanting nothing but to want the light that eclipsed its antique mask. Merci. You're muted, my
Merci
friend.
too. We're all wrapped in rapt attention, David.
Thanks.
Really, yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So nice to see the work too when when you read it, because I've heard you read a couple of times. It's a nice experience for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And our next poet, Frank Staroba. Frank's a friend of mine from a long time. You're on mute, Frank, by the way. I'll take you off there. You want to unmute yourself, Frank? Got it?
You're still
There we go.
muted.
There you go. Good. Okay. And
Yeah.
so Frank is from Washington, D.C., a retired professor of theater and communication. His first collection of poetry is The Dark is Light Enough. It's a great book, which I have and I treasure, as well as my friendship with, I think you don't say enough about yourself, as you're very amazing and eclectic life, Frank. So welcome. Your poetry
Thank
will
you.
tell.
Okay, here we go. I come at this in the tradition of the 1960s concrete poetry, and I'm interested in poems that look on the page like what they mean. So the first of these is called Stone Like Flesh. I follow the crowd at the exhibit from Tutankhamun's tomb. Golden death mask, jewel-encrusted scepter, all the pharaoh would need in the afterlife. Then I come upon the alabaster ewer, lighted in a niche. Smooth, creamy stone, suspended in an iron stand, replacing the black slave who held it. The ewer is perfectly simple. Light from above transfuses the alabaster. It glows like flesh. Time stops. How could man make such beauty from cold stone? Did the pharaoh notice its splendid shape, its luster as the slave served his wine? I want to touch it, but the guard is watching. I linger long enough to etch the ewer in the museum of my mind. Ode to the moon. Dear moon of many guises, crescent, gibbous, harvest, blue, blood red, smart globe, balancing push and pull to sail forever in orbit, retiring below the horizon to change for seducing the man in the moon, vain beauty protecting your backside from sunburn, priestess of augury, revelation, winking through eclipses, bearing the boots of astronauts, palimpsest for everyone's projection. Dear orb that shines by reflected light, we're in your debt for the miraculous mirror you are. And the last piece reads from the bottom up. Newborn, an elevator poem. Woman with baby enters, baby sleeps, doors close. How old? 60 hours. Baby stirs, car rises, doors open. Mom carries 60 hours into now. That's it, my friends.
Well, thank you, Frank, for your
Nice. Nice.
always unique attempts and devices that you use. Seems to be a never-ending amount. I'm always just love it. Thank you very much. Indeed. Well, next is Doc Jennings. Doc is the inaugural poet laureate of the city of South Euclid. He has created ekphrastic poetry for Heights Arts and for Cleveland Photo Fest. He's a moderator of Second Sunday Poets, moderator of Awenties, and a featured reader for poetry events around the world. And I've heard him read a couple of times, and I'm very excited to share. Doc, take it away.
Thank you. That's Awanites, by the way.
How do you pronounce it?
Awanites.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
From the Welsh word awen.
Okay.
This first poem I wrote for the city of South Euclid for the upcoming holiday lighting ceremony. It's titled Festivals of Light. Ancient bonfires and torches.
Put it on the screen first, Doc.
I apologize.
No, sure.
I was rushing myself. Go share. Okay, now we've got it. Festivals of light. Ancient bonfires and torches, oil lamps and candles, lanterns, light bulbs and LEDs, drumming and chanting and saying of prayers. Solstice festivals of light meant to call back the sun, celebrated in many ways, both ancient and modern, all the world around, all from the same root, winter holidays of today. No matter your beliefs, in all our diversity, we celebrate with light. We honor their similarity, respect their differences, and by being inclusive, we all come together to keep traditions alive. As we of South Euclid, all who live here and work here, all who shop and worship, come together and thrive to light up holiday smiles. The second last line is the motto of the city of South Euclid, and Light Up Holiday Smiles is the title of a grant which the city received to do the lighting in a competition against 50 other cities, and we made it. So it was an honor to write this poem. For Thanksgiving, I wrote Day of the Turkey. It's in a jocular vein. 'Twas the day of the turkey, and things were amiss. The bird was still frozen.
Put it up first, Doc, so we can read along with it, okay?
What?
You're still on the same poem. Just scroll down.
Oh, okay, I apologize.
That's okay.
Stop the one. It should have all come through on, oh, cripe. I'm having a little problem here. Share. Okay. Day of the turkey. Was the day of the turkey, and things were amiss. The bird was still frozen in the freezer's abyss. The stores were all closed, and our pantry was bare. But company was coming, and we'd no holiday fare. We opened the fridge and checked it with care. There was breakfast and lunch with nothing to spare. So we picked up the phone and made some phone calls. We found a restaurant open down at the mall. They said they were full, but we slipped them some coin. They pulled out an old table, but the chairs were purloined. We managed with folders, we managed with boxes. We managed then even to sit with the foxes. We feasted and gobbled some more. And for the restaurant's food, we shouted, "Encore!" But at the end of the night, we called in the air, "Happy Thanksgiving to all. Now our wallets are bare." The query of the story, maybe ever 'twas thus. Who were the real turkeys, the birds or us? And now,
That's clever.
Do my next chair. Songs and seasons of time. Amid profusion of hues and tints, amid rustle of leaves underfoot and sonorous songs of autumn, faint songs are heard on wind, the frosty songs of winter, whispering of its coming ere long. in chill words and rhymed notes of impending cold ice and snow. Beyond, though, are other songs, other whispers and echoes of spring's advent and renewal, and summer's bountiful plenty. All are whispers of time's passage, whispers, echoes, and songs of past, present, and future, through eons, ages, and infinity. Sacred mysteries of seasons, seasons gone, and those yet to come. And I would like to read how much time do I have left?
Well, if you have a short one and you can get it up, that'd be fine.
Okay, I have a short one. Time within time. Days pass within days, and time within time. They display all the arcane beauty and terror of the multiverse in echoes, echoes of light and shadow, echoes meaning everything, meaning nothing. All converge as one in the Tao of being and harmonics of ascension to become. Thank you.
Very nice, Doc.
Ah, that was a very nice closing too. Thank you. That was nice. A nice happy Thanksgiving poem.
I like
Thank
that
you
last one especially.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Our next guest is Sarvin Afarinesh. Sarvin, I've met sometimes. She's a spoken word artist and a psychotherapist living in London. She's originally from Iran and was raised in Austria. Sarvin is passionate about meeting and creativity and mental health. She writes what it's like to be a human in society, including her own experiences. Her mission is to encourage people to share their feelings and experiences and reduce shame and increase compassion for the human condition. Well, we're the human condition, Sarvin, so welcome.
Yes, we are. Thanks, Mark. Hi, everyone. Good to be back. Been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm not a pro at the share screen, but I'm going to give it a shot.
You're on phone or computer?
I'm on my...
I think you might have frozen yourself. There you are. Kind of on. You got it. On
Can you see it?
Yes, well, it's coming out.
Okay. Yeah, it's not there yet.
So what are you on a phone or an iPad or?
I'm on an iPad. Sorry, can you see it or not?
Oh, we're just to have the broadcast.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what you can do? You know what, Sarvin, could you email it to me and I'll just put it on for you afterwards? I'll just move on. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Take your time, email me the files. I'll move on and then we'll get you right back in as soon as you can, okay? Okay, I think we'll have to try it that way. A little tricky with the phones. I don't know how to do it myself. So Kemlyn, hi. Are you ready to read? Is that okay, Kemlyn?
Yes, I sure am.
Okay.
Not a worry.
Well, Kemlyn is a partner of mine at the Poetry Global Network as well, and I have so much to say about Kemlyn's bravery and just the way she inspires everybody around her. She's both an artist, a singer, an actress, and a great poet. And she has all this stuff here that you said about yourself with all the awards and books and all of it. And it's suffice it to say, she's a native of Singapore and she draws inspiration from her heritage and the natural world around her. She's a teacher and she's won all kinds of poetry slams, the All Arizona Poetry Slam Championships, the We Global Philadelphia, and a whole bunch others. I hope I said enough, Kemlyn.
More than enough, Mark. And it's just a pleasure to be here with you all. And so I'm about to begin.
Have an echo somewhere, so I'm going to mute, and I guess everybody else should.
Okay, hold on. There we go. All right, my Thanksgiving set. Feast. Holidays are celebrations, times of gathering, feasting with loved ones, and yet around tables at many families here in America and others in our world, empty chairs never to be filled. With art as my companion, I grieve with pen and paintbrush. My beloved, let us carve up a roast and serve up our poems, drizzle and pour ladles of gravy, love over our grief. Mash, smash our pain until our skins, our brown flecks. Let's add a little more yeast and raise our hopes for a nightmareless night. Sleep with a little ease. Comfort our stomachs with green bean casserole, sprinkle with the crunch of fried onions, texture subdued in oven. I toast you with a glass of Berenger's rose blush, a slice of apple pie, your favorite. A memory of our last holiday meal together. So many of you know that I was hospitalized recently, and this is a piece that I wrote and painted in gratitude to the staff at the Mayo Clinic. It's called Vital Signs of Life. It's an acrylic on canvas, and the piece is called Vital Signs. To the care team at the Mayo Clinic, 5E57. Slide the cuff! Blood pressure rises and falls. Why do our hearts beat? How much oxygen do we use before we cross from respiration to expiration? At what point does temperature indicate the blush of passion to infection? Lives pass through doors, halls, rooms, minds, hearts. Names turn to statistics, written, erased, written, erased, written, erased, seen, then forgotten, then forgotten, then forgotten. And yet, each life holds a seed, one by one, another yet another, touched, scattered to the wind, blooms into a garden, kaleidoscope with vital signs of life. So while I was in hospital, I lost one of my dearest friends. Her name was Jane Elgin. And Jane was my art mother. And I would not be here if it wasn't for this woman. So I'm singing her home. Sail on to Jane. You sailed into my life and gave me safe harbor. A pastor friend comforted me once. It is not the final moment with the loved one, but the myriad of memories shared. You are compassion. When I was mistreated, you saw me. You brandished your sword and took my side. When I was hungry for love, you fed me messes of spaghetti. When I was weary, you rocked me with kindness as I slept on your couch. When I was angry, you propelled me to process with a paintbrush. When I was happy, you hoisted flags, eagerly announcing my successes. You were the mothership of my artful life. You reminded me over and over there is no one finer than me. It is an honor you called me friend. It was an honor I called you friend. Now it is time to untether and send you to the west. Wait for me, dear friend, in my time I shall find your harbor again. Sail on, silver girl. Sail on by, your time has come to shine. all your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled water. Jane, you were my bridge. I will cross to you soon. Wait for me.
Beautiful. Lovely. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Kemlyn. Well, take a deep breath. Wow.
Walaikum assalam.
Well, Sarvin, I have your poem now. I can put it on.
Hey, great.
And
Well done.
Kemlyn, do put everything that we can reach you in the chat. I'm sure people want to follow you around.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Okay, Sarvin, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Okay. I'm not on Thanksgiving theme. This one is I may be just another phony. Know me. Don't know me. You don't even know me. I push and pull, use my low-level tool, assuming you're the fool who'll never know me. I'm a stranger in disguise, plopped on my heavy throne of complex family ties. You may sift or crack through my carefully crafted demise, but you'll never capture or behold me. No, you'll never even know me. You think my eyes tell lies on lies. Let me tell you, I don't have time for this shit. Don't want you to owe me. I'll refuse your gin, cranberry juice, and tea. Don't try to control me. In this language, I run away readily. Run, breathe, and be free. Oh, it's just too painful to be with me. There we go. I'm your lucky charm, Daddy. I'll be the sun when the day is done. I won't sleep, Daddy. I'll still shine. I'll carry on shining. The night is young. I'll take a smile and hang it, not upside down, tang it. Daddy, don't give up, I promise. I'll stay young. I'll stay fun. No matter what's really going on with your daughter. It's all on me, Daddy, to hold it together. Because you need me to shoulder the weight's a ton. And I see it, Daddy. The day is gone, but our job's not done. I'll stay by your side till you're ready, Daddy. I'll stay young. I was Dad's lucky charm, mom's little doll. Raised to be a fool, turns out not at all. I was used like a tool to please them both, and they never agreed. It was confusing, yo. I am tired of myself. Well, I really tire myself. Test and try myself. Push myself. Don't look after myself. Ignore myself. And hope that I can find myself somewhere else. They teach us about parallelograms and trapezoids, about racing ahead and reaching our goals. They teach us to recall and regurgitate facts, to critically interpret this and that. They teach us how to spell our name, but they don't teach us about ourselves, about guilt, about shame, about belonging, and how we all end up feeling alone, and how we're all the same. Thank you.
Edgy stuff.
That's really had a way of certainly communicating to us. Thank you, Sarvin. Yeah, there's other people here involved with poetry, with bibliotherapies of sorts, poetry therapy and journal therapy and art therapy. My friend Karen Cooper is one in that group too. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'm going to move to Chris. We have just a couple of more readers. I guess 3 or 4 people didn't show, which I guess is normal for the game of doing these events. So we're only like maybe a half hour away from finishing, and we have some very good readers coming up. So glad you can all hang in there. Next poet is Christopher George, who was born in Liverpool, England in 1948, emigrated to here in 1955, and returned home to experience the swinging 60s. Sounds like fun. He emerged in the U.S. in 1968 and studied poetry with Sister Maura Eschner and Elliot Coleman. His poetry has been published in journals worldwide. He lives with his wife, Donna, in Newark, Northern Delaware. And he's also a historian and lecturer. I have a book of his about the War of 1812 that he sent me, which is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's a tremendous historical document with tremendous research and craft. And I know you give lectures on everything is from Jack the Ripper to Edgar Allan Poe. So they're very certainly out there, Chris. Take it away.
Thank you, Mark. I got a talk coming up on John Lennon. And let me start this. Bronze baby boots. And this is my wife's picture on the left and my sister-in-law on the right. They don't have bronze baby boots back in England where I come from. But it seems to be especially an American thing. Bronze baby boots mounted before your childhood photographs. Together again after the years apart. I snap a blurry photograph of you both standing by the fake Christmas tree that we assembled at your folks. Lights lit straight out of the box. Pebbles. After all our words have been spoken, all of our tales have been told. The truths and the lies, big and little, pebbles strewn on a beach as a cold wind blows. Reality check. Daring death wishes, faced with disappointment, roller coast dashed by real life thrills and spills of mammoth weather event. Harmony Road is closed. America is in a state of disunion, and Harmony Road is closed. But when I go to take a photograph of the closed sign, I see a happy place nearby that caters to children from 6 weeks through school age. And there's a detour to take us to where we are going. There's always a detour somewhere. We'll take the detour and get there eventually. Then we can all be together again. And with this one, I lived in Baltimore and took the train to Union Station in Washington, D.C. And this is a shot of the Centurions, as I call them, above the doorway at Union Station. American Centurions. I take shelter under the arcade of Union Station. Light snow slants in and wets my face. Above the station doors stand marble centurions, mailed and armored, fit for Valhalla, with wing-decked helmets. In a dusky window, I see a Hispanic busboy spread a crisp white tablecloth in the America restaurant. Later, I sip a scotch and water. My train hurtles into the heartland. I watch snow cover rough pasture and bison bend their backs to tufts of straw, chowing down as if it's their final meal. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, wow. Well, that was great. Yeah, I know the Union Station. I wrote a poem about the Christopher Columbus monument that's there.
Yeah.
Though, and unfortunately, when I left Washington last month, but living there for a couple of years. But in the last 6 months, Union Station has become an encampment for the homeless. There's about 30 tents there when I last passed. Interesting way to greet the nation into the nation's capital.
Yeah.
But it was like that, yeah. Well, thank you, Chris. That was a great and interesting read and very diverse. Loved it. Thank you. Next is Elizabeth Black. Elizabeth, did you make it? There you are. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for hanging in there, Elizabeth, and all that. Elizabeth is a friend of mine as well from workshops, and we've published together in anthologies. And she's a recent, she's a resident of the DC area, participant of the collective, and broadly published in many anthologies and journals, especially focused on haiku. She's also a fine artist, awarded a Fulbright with paintings that sells in galleries all over the world, and uses that skill of poetry in her poetry, in a color in her poetry, who often explores the natural world and the world she loves. She's also was a nurse in Mexico and Virginia for over 40 years. Her poetry is rich in sound and meaning. And welcome, thank you, for Elizabeth, and everybody else who's hanging in here to hear our last poets.
Right, so you had asked for poems about Thanksgiving. So I went through a little while ago and I pulled out some that are autumn based instead. So the first poem, and I'm already starting to lose my voice because I zoom out after 2 hours of zooming. First poem is Autumn in the Salt Marsh. I am the salt marsh, preparing for winter, losing one life. Summer's green sway of sedge and grass, gaining a new life as drying and rustling leaves to copper and rust. I am the crusty brine washed from crab cages and waders, fish lines and nets, while flounder and bluefish swim back to the Atlantic, while terrapin and crab seek the sun's last warm streaks before burrowing in the sandy muck. I am the mire in retreat, beside a blazing fire, a temporary sun to warm falling temperatures, listening to new bird calls, replacing the red wing blackbird yodel, geese and ducks trumpet their strident clarion announcing winter. And this next is just very simple, called Autumn Leaves. I rake leaves to hills on the street, where the county comes to vacuum them in the gut of a leaf-sucking truck. I take the children to the mounds, bury them alive, breathless in their enchantment and internment, returning to me reborn. For me, there is nothing better than falling into leaves, dry and frayed, that crunch to dust, entune myself with 1,000 other souls until I too leap free back to life. And the last poem I'm going to read is called Bluebird Boxes. And this is something that we do each November. At this time, Bluebird Boxes. It's November. We enter with gloved hands, leave intact, tidy bluebird nests, tightly tucked field grass twined around hollowed cups that held and hatched and fledged 3 clutches of chicks this year. The bluebirds stay the winter, extended families snuggled in a single box, living on red holly, dogwood berries, and purple pokeweed seeds. We empty abandoned habitats of other tenants, like the lavishly feathered nests of swift flying tree swallows, scoop and scrape dried poop with an old putty knife, holding breath to brush white smut and mite clouds into the blue sky, and pack 3 inches of straw in case, just in case, a stray bluebird needs a winter home. We dispose the disheveled hovels of invasive house sparrows, gather plastic trash and grass, feathers and string they call home, take back the wooden brood eggs placed in their nests when we hoped to sham mother sparrows, limit their invasive population. Today, bluebirds titter in the high story trees, blue backs flashing brilliant in the chilled slant light, and orange breasts radiant like maple leaves as we turn to our own cluttered home. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I have 2 bluebirds that are living in the property that I'm in right now. They're big, they're gigantic, these bluebirds. They're like that.
Maybe they're blue jays.
Yeah,
Blue jays.
that's
Yeah.
like jays.
Yeah,
They're
that's
also
right.
bluebirds with the orange. I have the bluebirds with the orange. They're small ones with the orange breasts.
They're timid songbirds, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I have them.
Also,
Yeah.
for those living in the UK, the bluebirds in the UK are different. They're smaller.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have them both out here.
accused with the American bluebird.
Well, lovely. Thank you. Really descriptive. Painted a very nice picture for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next poem has hung in here. I have no idea what time it is in Tokyo. What time is it in Tokyo, Sayaka?
It's 6:45 in Tokyo.
And you've hung out this whole time. I could have. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you. Well, let me introduce Sayaka is a spoken word artist and poet in Japan. She is an active member of Kotoba Slam Japan, the national championship of spoken words in Japan, and an organizer of KSJ's virtual region tournament preliminary. Sayaka is another participating poet in the Planet global network, and is our technical support in our segment, The Poets Reacts. And I'm very excited to introduce, and thank you for staying at such a late hour, Sayaka, and all
thank you
that
for
you.
inviting
Yeah.
me.
Oh, please. And so please take the stage.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Sayaka. I'm from Tokyo, and today I feel a little bit nervous because I usually perform my poetry in Japanese. I hope my English is okay. So the title is Republic of Ushpis. Okay. So I was called a virus when I was a child. If you call an isolated person a virus, it's right, maybe. A virus didn't know any F words, then always thinking about the boring, childish, and cruel things. sayonara. Hi, virus. If you're in a hurry, could you give me a minute? It's a just story of a country founded by poets. When the government abandoned all leisure after World War II, street artists had words, music, or paintings. Then they decided to build a country by themselves. If you might think it's a lie, but it's true. I've been there once. In that country today, there are mermaids singing songs, people are dancing at the park, and a broken piano is talking to a stranger. Just Google it, you'll find 3 fake news. In this country, like dogs have a right to be a dog, you have a right to be you. Hey, if you have no choice, it's better to go north. Words won't be infected and it's duty-free. Yeah, I'm packed in my room all day, but I know in that country, an inspection officer is singing there and everyone is taking a nap. This country really exists. With my words, it sounds just like a lie. After writing a poem, I was called a runaway horse. I changed 3 airplanes and arrived in Republic of Fishbein. I have a stamp in my passport I don't use now. If you have no choice, why don't we visit that country? If you have no choice, just fly to the north. There is a country with pods. After getting words, just come back to me, please. You will run, and run like a rampaging horse. You won't be called a virus anymore. Everyone calls you a poet. Thank you so much. That's all.
Sayaka-san, sugoi! Arigatou gozaimasu! Hey!
Gozaimasu.
Hi.
Arigato, arigato.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Sayaka. I'd love to see you perform also in, maybe I can go to Katoba if you can invite me, just so I can listen to hear you perform too. I'll put on the, you know, the translator and see what I get out of it. Well, thank you for sharing. That's great. And staying up.
Thank you so much.
We'll have, I see Marissa just came, who's it's a schedule to read it. So we'll go through, finish up with Quasar and then Susan, and then Marissa will I guess close. And thank you all for staying with us this long. I think it just keeps on getting better and better. And next is a gentleman I met through a poetry reading series that's been going on for many years in Maryland called Words Out Loud. And his name is K.R. Quasar, also known as David Martin, is a poet, playwright, novelist, and scholar, translator of Arabic and Persian poetry, philosophy PhD. He's got books of translation in poetry in the Hawaii Review. Among 11 books are Buddha in His Time and this Rebirth, Persian poetry, experience of, it's just too long to read Quasar, but it's all there. He's the first prize, Chicago Prize, Poetry Fest, Columbia University, translations prizes, and all sorts of other readings and TV appearances. from Iran, Russia, China, USA. He's a founding member of the San Francisco Bay Area Poets Coalition, and his books are available. He'll leave that in the chat. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Quasar, who I will share for you in a second.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I got to learn how to do this.
okay, I'm sorry. I had
Take your time. First of all, congratulate all you folks for being here. This is fantastic. This is really, really good. You know, we got to do what we got to do. You know.
Yeah, a very unusual and sophisticated band of poets here today. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, that's you see the cover there of a double book of mine, Ocean of Suns and Light First, Light Last. Okay, Mark, can you put through, there we go, Cosmic Web. I don't know what kind of voice I should do this in. I've never learned. We were all part of this everything here. So anyway, let's go. Cosmic Web. Can you hear me? Is there any noise? Is any noise in the background?
You're
okay.
Good.
Because there's cooking in the kitchen. Okay, Cosmic Web. Spiderwork spit stretches across the universe. Driblets and droplets hanging every which where. The filaments so thin they disappear. Stretch to breaking in the expansive vastness. Spiderwork spit, twists, and spins in the crazy quilt of spangling matter, pressing against void, impinging on void, the filaments of radiance so tenuous in the distance, overtaking distance and darkness, crowding out darkness. The infinities nestle inside each other, here, here, and every here. We ride the filaments of radiance so thin, so tenuous and stretching in the impossible vastness that overrides the impossible. The infinities that nestle and stretch inside us teach us what is real in the unthinkable distance, and here, and here in our splotchy shining core. We spit out our spiderwork of radiance, stretching and breaking in the distance, in the vastness that crushes us both inside and out. We nestle the infinities inside, the crazy quilt, radiance, the core, fiber of the shine we are. And I situate this in time and space for the coda here. March 2020, 2.73 degrees Kelvin. That's the microwave background radiation temperature. 2.73 degrees Kelvin, 13.8 billion years after the Big Bang, Wheaton Park and home, Atlantic coast, Earth, solar system, Orion Cygnus arm, Milky Way galaxy, local cluster of galaxies, and the Virgo supercluster of galaxies, and the Laniakea overcluster of galaxies, among 1,000+ galaxy clusters, caught in the undertow, pulled in the dark flow, streaming towards the unknown, all in the web weave of galaxies, veins in the void nest here. And yes, the dark flow is a real thing and nobody knows what it is. We're all moving just 1,600 galaxy clusters in some direction altogether. Okay, so this is state of grace. Sometimes grace descends. Sometimes grace descends on you despite all the evils nesting in their unreachable ravines and unassailable eyries. Sometimes grace makes its way through the minefields of mind and self-closing traps. Sometimes grace settles in you. In a state of grace, you find colors singing to you and shapes caress you. Pinpricks of grace nuzzle your skin. You find yourself walking in air. The atmospheres of grace crowd you. One grace catches your attention and clamors, "Let me love you too." Another grace sighs, "I'll not crowd you, but we'll pull back to one remove. You'll always know you can call me close." Other graces fall in place. They pass you off one to another. Together they buoy you up, grace after grace, and graces in packs overtake you and pass. You can feel the gentle whir of air as their onrush lifts you up. Sometimes grace just comes on through. It stays for just a moment or two to have a word with you. Look around and find you're still walking in air. Your eyes touch the recesses of reality, the nooks and crannies of ever further away in sight, like muffled pillows for the reach of your mind. In a state of grace, you know you are in transit. You are only passing through, and grace is passing through you. You don't punch Grace's ticket. Grace is just passing through. Let me do one more. Okay, this is spoken from the future, from people or beings who are not yet born, and they're talking to us. Thanks and praise from the far future for saving the earth. This is an antidote to all the horrible poems about warning about human extinction that I write, and there's no end of those. And hopefully we're going to get through this bottleneck, because we are up against the wall and we are getting crushed. Okay, so this supposes we actually do get through, and is a hope, an attempt for us to imagine our way selves through this bottleneck. Thanks and praise from the far future for saving the earth. We thank you from the far future. We are the descendants and offspring of your great-great-grandchildren. We thank you from the far future for saving the planet and the life that teems on it for us and all consciousness. We thought we should thank you while you are still alive and can feel a heartfelt warmth. We thought we should thank you while we are still unborn and barely wriggling in your thoughts of all the heaviness of what is yet to come. What is yet to come. We thank you from the far future, for we know you struggled to save us. And we say, well done, because we know you did it. And yes, we look forward to the descendants of our own great-great-grandchildren thanking us for saving the earth for them and applauding us, saying, well done, because we know you did it. This is a message from your far future. This is a message from our far future. We thank you for saving us, the planet, and consciousness. And yes, we look forward to being thanked from our far future. In turn, this is the chain of gratitude stretching back from all of our far futures. We all borrow from the far future to build the honeycomb of consciousness. We, in turn,
lend you our strength, bending back from the far future. Take our love and pull yourselves up. Thank you, folks.
Great. Wonderful.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for that bit of optimism too.
Good seeing you, folks. Good seeing you.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Quasar. That was great. Yeah, so I wish it's good now I can study the poems a little bit more that you put on, because it's recorded here, so I can take a look at the first two poems as well. And I'd like to see another look at them. They seem like they seem very loaded with a lot of stuff in there. Thank you.
Thank you
So
much,
next,
folks.
sure. And our next reader is Susan. Been nice enough to stick around here. Let me get your poem up as well, and I'll introduce you. I'll introduce you. She's an award-winning poet and short story writer. Her debut collection, In the Longboats with Others, won the Capricorn Book Award and was published by New Rivers Press. And she has a fifth collection released in 1919, and other connections coming. Finalist in the New Rivers New York Voices 2019 contest. The last Insomniac was the 2019 finalist in the James Tate Award. Congratulations. Grants and awards include, and there's just too many for me to mention, Susan, I think, but there's a whole bunch of very well-known North American review, the Southern Humanities Review, Mississippi Review. It's great stuff. Wow. Well, congratulations. Let me let me first get yours up there. Susan, you sent it to me. Got it. And welcome, Susan.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. So I'm working on a new collection, and it is called Surviving the Autopsy. It is not about Trump. I'm not sure yet what it is about, but it's progressing nicely, and it is a lot of fun to be writing it. The fires of evening incinerated the roach. Oh, I want to say one thing. This poem is filled with truths and lies. The fires of evening incinerated the roaches that were climbing my walls. The eternal forest of poverty's hoarded a stream. Every day, the edge of the world creeps closer, as if in its infinite raging, it wants to asphyxiate the human race. Life's a torment, and towards the end, all we really want of it's to know whether sleep will come first or the pain of dying. At the window, a grimy little landscape's eavesdropping on me, the idiot apprentice seated in a classroom, shoulder to shoulder with restless fire ants. I put in long days at the blackboard. The instructor sits with eyes closed. My resume says I'm a well-versed polyglot with a penchant for extant languages. I'm a thief. My greatest fear is getting caught. It wouldn't be the first time. Once I rode over mountains in an air balloon that popped. It happened in the season of clouds. We never gave them a thought. Our thoughts centered on the knotholes in the forests below and the many lurid ways to bring sparrows to tears. Life's a bore. The rats treading the puddle of multicolored light my Tiffany lamp throws off know so and swim from here. I'm a renegade, an atom which broke long ago from the sun and the gods' favorite blow-up toy. My father was a gardener. His voice thundered among the plantings and stunted them. His hands on my body drew blood. I grew tired of the blows and of sunlight sparring for a place between them. The wind told me its truth, and I cast my father from my heart. But time returned him repeatedly from the erased millions. The days broke their backs on me, stole my identity. I searched for it by way of long division, hoped for a windfall, for something mercurial to take its place. When all failed, I grew angry, and my anger crossed boundaries, called on the day's latest refinements of cruelty, made me make others kneel in pain. Sucked deep within fury's vortex, I stole a child's peace of mind and watched as if hypnotized what my callousness did. Saw night replace his days and blow in upon him cold and starless. This is my confession. Here, I say, to that vacancy occupying the cross, to the noose at the end of my rope. Scrub me clean, make me innocent as a newborn's earwax and worthy of humanity's embrace. Give me altars, give me altars in abundance, each emblazoned with the Milky Way, a lunamos presiding, silkworms spinning their rope beds, their sutures for our wounds. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mark, for such a fabulous job. You're a gracious, gracious host and a wonderful poet.
Thank you, Susan. Indeed, that and really yourself. I was thinking as you were reading with Lesley's work also, how you're combining this new form of poetry and kind of prosy thing. It's really exciting what you're doing, and
thank you.
Very interesting, and that was very moving. And thanks for that as well. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Do put in the chat. Since some here might not know you, put in the chat how we can get in touch with you, or see some of your work and all that. Sure.
Always open.
And so our last reader tonight is welcome in Marissa. Hi. Marissa Prada, everybody. Marissa Prada, which is also part of the Poetry Global Network. She's with Kemlyn and I on the Poets React. She's a poet, a writer, a spoken word artist in Albuquerque, New Mexico, married, polyamorous, and a mother of 2 daughters. Marissa is founder of Read or Green Books.
You're close, Red.
The Red or Green Books. I always do it both ways. I'm sorry, Marissa.
Okay.
She's the author of Photo Photography 505 on Facebook, and Marissa's been around on many, many different platforms that many of us have seen her perform her amazing stuff. And what a great way to finish a great event that we had today with fine poet, as I know, Marissa Prada.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I absolutely adore you. I apologize for being tardy today. I've been incredibly distracted this week, and I did have it set on my alarm. I didn't even hear the alarm. I'm sorry, Mark.
No. Enjoy your set.
So I've got 2 pieces for you today. And let me go ahead and do a screen share for you. This first one, I'm going to read here. Let me minimize that. I hope you guys can see it okay. Let me know, Mark, give me a thumbs up when you can see it, because sometimes, okay, good. So this one I wrote after a workshop with Stacy Dyson, and it's titled Bonsai Bullseye. I wonder if it hurts a tree to grow another ring. Branches bent to the whim of the wind, years spent swaying, stationary, scribbling love letters to the sky. Paper wings flap from failures, cover up makeup, misplaced lust, love, lonely. A century of growing pains for pleasure. There is no honor in loving you still. standing still, still life captured on canvas, mortal immortality, immortality, morality defending my own mind, unmade, as it clings to your crumpled up paper memory still. There is no storm after the storm, just calm, claimed by the wreckage of ripped open wrists, bled clean, dry, tired eyes, hiding the fallen in love with you, tearing out tears tormented over your absence, since there is no honor in loving you still. Triage the tears, triangle eyes of red flags floating down the river bend, staring at that lovely sky, blinded, binded, bent branches tangled beneath the surface, breaths full of fluid fantasies of you walking back to me, having it all been a dream. These are all dreams these days anyway. Sensation of another ring being made, ringing in the new year, my growing pains of evolution, of still standing, still loving the sky, coveting its inconstance, and as the world passes by, unapologetically cutting off my limbs, whittle pencil and paper, stationary, still swimming outside your sky, drowning in your residue, slimy, slippery, sadist sadness in your absence. There is no honor in loving you still, still so tired of time, tired of rings, tired of changing my colors, dying a little to live again. So tired of growing and never grasping, tired of loving, tired of losing, so tired of merely surviving without you. And the second one is that oven timer, because that oven timer is the bane of my existence. The second one, actually, I just wrote last weekend at a Guerrilla Poets workshop, and the title of the workshop is the Angry Poem Workshop. So I called it that Anger Workshop Poem. So yeah. All right. Sometimes I scroll back to your voice when I knew of better days and my head was still stuck in the sand. My hands were still tied tight above my head. Your dick halfway down my throat. Thought you were it for me and I was it for you. Sometimes I scroll back to your voice. The worst thing I ever heard when you said, I love you, Marissa. Then my sternum breaks concave, pierces heart, lungs, backbone with the wishbone of better days, break still. This calcified cardiac heart bone, spongy bone full of old lady holes. Still the worst thing I ever heard. Unfurl breath from throat, cleared wreckage of your ship, sailed free and clear in the night. Was that you loved me, past tense. I breathe. I say, I told you so, you stupid hoe. He does not love you. How could he ever love you? He was a single serving man, not even a K-cup companion, but one you had to fill from the start and sip with speckled granules that should be swim in your cup after brewing. This muscle memory ear canal remembers your voice, remembers I love you, as if you were here still. I stab myself in the ear still, no object sharp enough, dull enough, wise enough, just enough to pluck you from my mind, pluck you from my pussy, pluck you from the life you absolutely fucked up. I am tramp stamped with an X-ray exorcism of essential corrupted catastrophe, disaster relief for a country that would never come, never heal. I inhale cannabis clouds from time to time because I can't cry then. It's the only thing to turn off the sprinklers, save water since we are in the desert after all. I exhale all the failures of females to find love with fucking, with equal partners, with those who promise to love them back. I release track marks of time, hiding tears of tearing away from you, from the indigo handprints across my ass, my throat and mouth. I'm free now to fall through this poem, this life, away from you, only to find no further freedom. Strings of freedom won't fray. You stay and stay. And now I'm now astray, no one keeps company. I remember you. I remember this pain. I remembered my splintered chest, epitaph of the fact I existed once. Carved, embossed concrete stone stuck in the ground. There should be some place to lay sunflowers for me. Thank you.
Well, I think now we'll take a rest. And that was a very emotional ending, of course, to a very emotional day, a lot of us. Wow. Thank you, Marissa, for sharing that with us. And everybody else. What a wonderful afternoon after Thanksgiving. A lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, a lot of joy, a lot of giving, a lot of thanks, a lot of everything, really. And I'm looking forward to reviewing it again and seeing it on the channel, because some of your work I really want to see a second time and hear a second time. And thank you all for coming and joining and sticking around. And look around, and next month I'll do it again. I'll do the 28th of every month, so we'll see what happens, and keep on inviting people from all over the place and different voices, and including some of our own. So we'll kind of mix it all up. So we'll have new voices and similar voices and all that every so often. So it'd be like a growing club after a bit. And I'm so happy to have you all as members.
Mark, thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
all
Mark.
your work.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mark, before we go, can you tell us how to look at the previous sessions?
Just go onto YouTube and press Planet Poetry 28. It comes right up. Then you just see
Planet
different.
Poetry 28.
Yeah, just what we're on, and you'll see the different months, is a different segment.
Good enough.
Sure enough.
Great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great event. Thank you, Mark.
Thank
See you next time.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet
Mark.
Susan and Lesley. Thanks. Everybody who stuck around. Doc, Prosser, everybody. Sarvin.
Everybody.
Sayaka.
Good night.